Tapes are rolling. Good afternoon, Mr. Roger LaFleur.
Good evening.
Where were you born?
Do you want comedy or you want the truth?
Where were you born?
I was born in Richmond Hill, Ontario.
How did you get into the music industry?
I guess when I was 14, a friend of mine put a drum set in my grandmother's basement where I was living. And I sat down behind it and found I could keep a beat. No training, no nothing, I could just do it. And I hung out with that band for a bunch of years, eventually started my own, and it was called Karma. And it's one of the coolest things I ever did.
Do pharmaceuticals want to keep cancer alive to be able to profit?
Oh yeah.
One thing in your life you wish you could do over?
Oh, were it only one. Wow, that's a good question. I guess what I should have done was a long time ago when I was working as a courier, driving a really pathetic little car. I came up into a bit of money and should have put a new carburetor on the car. I didn't. It crapped out. And yeah, but the other side of that is that led me on a path that led me to where I am now. And yeah, I wouldn't be where I was if I'd have done the smart thing at the time. So, one thing I actually would change? Nah.
Please elaborate.
Everyone's life is a very rich and interwoven tapestry of people, places, and events. Everything I've ever done, and ever talked to, or every person I've ever talked to, every wrong thing, every good thing that I've ever done has led me to this point. Changing one of those threads in that tapestry might change the picture completely. So, there's things I should have done differently, but I'm here, so, no.
Who is your favorite male actor?
Never really thought about it. Push comes to shove, Sir Ian McKellen.
The place you most want to visit?
Scotland. It's just, it seems like I don't know, kind of drawn there.
What is your happy place?
What is my happy place? When I'm on stage and the musicians I'm playing with are all paying attention to each other and it's really tight and it's really good. That's a very happy place for me.
Show me your happy face.
This is close to it. It's about all I can manage right now.
The riskiest thing you have ever done?
Man. The riskiest thing I've ever done. I guess, get towed down Yonge Street behind a motorcycle at 4 o'clock in the morning on a skateboard that I had built myself. And I wasn't aware of it at the time, but the front truck really wasn't attached to the board. So if I'd have lifted it up, the wheels would have gone in a different direction, and I certainly would not look as pretty as I do now.
The closest call in your life.
The closest call. I'm going to assume this is a brush with death kind of thing. The one that leaps to mind, I was driving for a printing supply company, driving a full-size Chevy cargo van, driving westbound on Queen Street in Toronto, and there's about 2.5 lanes where I was driving, and there were parked cars on right against the curb, so I barely had any room for this van. And I was driving along in the right lane, sorry, the right-ish part, and a truck pulls out in front of me. It had pulled almost completely out of my lane, but didn't. There's about this much still in my lane. Without even thinking. What? Oh man! That was it. I didn't scratch, I didn't touch, didn't even squawk the tires, just instinct. I did it, and it scared the hell out of me. But I did it.
The best surprise.
The best surprise. Well, that's a bit of a poser. I guess when my son finally contacted me, I was very surprised, and yeah, it was one of the better ones I've had in my life.
Who is your favorite female actor?
Hadn't thought about it. Kate Patchat.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
People who should know better.
What was the first car you owned?
I owned myself. It was the aforementioned piece of crap car, 1984 Plymouth Horizon. At least it was silver. I had an okay stereo in it for a little while. Not a bad little car until it grabbed out.
Please try to explain stigma.
Stigma. Stigma is an attitude generated in other people towards someone for really no good reason. Due to some mental health issue, some physical health issue, some physical abnormality, and it's unwarranted.
Do you have a Visa or MasterCard?
Visa. Well, Morgan Freeman. He's doing their commercials, so how can I say no?
How did your name come to be?
Okay, that's a two-parter. My name, Roger, comes from the German Rutger, which means rudder, or that which steers the ship. Having that name come to me, the story I'm told is my father walked into the hospital room, looked at me and said, or looked at my mother and said, his name's Roger. That's the only name I can really lay claim to. LaFleur is a family name. It's not mine. William comes from my grandfather. That was his name.
What is your date of birth?
I don't know. Anything I can say is just hearsay. I wasn't counting that.
What is your mother's maiden name?
Apperly.
What are the last 3 digits on your credit card?
I'm not telling.
Your favorite food or foods?
Veal Parmesan with spaghetti and marinara sauce and good bread.
Where were you on September 11th, 2001?
Working at an audiovisual company. I just got to work that day and it was on the TV. They hooked up a TV in the warehouse and I was astonished to see what happened.
Now you can just rant. Anything you want to say, the floor is yours. Any topic, anyhow, anyway, any who, same bad time, same bad channel.
I enjoyed making the video that we did. It was fun. I ended up with a nice bass in a case and a set of strings because I did that. And some money. It was fun. It was I guess it was the only real video production I've ever been on. Well, sorry, involved with as a performer. I used to do AV. It was lots of fun. It was really a grind for those 2 days because everyone else in the band could fake it and I couldn't. I actually had to play drums hard for 2 days. I was a little sore at the end of it, but it was worth it. It's an excellent result. The recording sounds great. The visuals, well, I didn't get everything right. Looked pretty good, you know. It was lots of fun, and it was a really big learning experience, and I'm glad to have been part of it. And that band, when it was working well, if I can quote Donald Duck Dunn from the movie Blues Brothers, could turn goat piss into gasoline. I still talk to the bass player. The other 2 guys, well, sorry, 3, kind of drifted out of my life. And that's unfortunate for a lot of different reasons. And that's the way it is. I had fun playing in this band. I really did. Even right down to the early days of the original rhythm player. It's unfortunate that he had to leave the scene, but life has changed. Rivers don't stop. And the few guys we had after that were all fun guys, and they had to leave for whatever reason. I enjoyed playing with the original bass player, Abden Harry. Still love the guy. I think the bass player we got right after him was a good bass player. Competent bass player, good singer. Just not the right fit. Because we were a bunch of freaks and he seemed like an accountant. But the night he quit the band, I remember our original rhythm player making drunken phone calls to our next bass player until about 5 o'clock in the morning. And it was just a bit of insanity, and I'm surprised he even eventually returned the phone call. I'm very glad he did. Because at one point, I said it then and I'll say it now, he was my favorite guy in the band, and that includes me. He and I have had a lot of fun since, and it's been a gas playing with him. Our Angus, there's nobody better. The one in the video. There's nobody better. I've been in a few AC/DC tributes since and done various and sundry things. You close your eyes, and he is the album. The singer, who unfortunately has pretty much departed from my life, when he was on, it sounded like Bon Scott crawled out of the grave to jam with us. When he was on, no stopping him. And he had the stage schmooze as well. Could talk to a crowd. The last rhythm player we had, while in the beginning was kind of struggling, really pulled his shit together very well and became a pretty kick-ass rhythm player for an AC/DC tribute. He had the look, he had the vibe, and I really liked the guy. And, yeah. Then there's me. I ended up giving up Rush and playing in a Rush tribute to start playing AC/DC. Even though I'd spent 2 years putting that band together. I also did, I really miss playing the complicated music. I really do. Hope there's some way at some point that I'll get to do it again. I really do miss counting to 7. Yeah, we ended up just building something that was just too big to go into bars. And if I'm going to be making $100, I don't want to spend an hour just setting up my drum set and then hauling all that gear. I gotta say though, I wasn't a huge AC/DC fan when I started playing AC/DC. Heard some of their songs and I really liked the song Back in Black. I've heard all the other songs, I just never really dug into it. But after being, so I was about to say being forced to play it, no, after agreeing to play it and really learn it, I got a whole new appreciation for it. You know, it's not as simple and straightforward as everyone seems to think. It's by no means like the Mahavishnu Orchestra. But what they do very well. They've been called a one-trick pony. But it's a kick-ass trick. And it's been working for over 30-something years. And they're just kick you in the teeth rock and roll. Like, okay, you don't get any frills, but like I like to say about other bands that I'm not going to name, they're more icing than cake. AC/DC is just all cake, and it's thick cake, and it's gonna weigh you down. I don't like all of their music, but some of it is super fun to play. I have to admit that. Especially when you get a really kick-ass bass player and a rhythm player playing with you. The trunk of the tree. Everybody landed on the one at the same time. Everybody knowing what everybody else is doing. We all know everything and we're all just right there together, hammering it, booting people in the teeth musically. Yeah, that's a force to be reckoned with. And it was tons of fun to have had that opportunity, however brief it was. And you never know what the future can bring. You just never know. Anything else I feel like ranting about?
Yeah. That was awesome, man. Just anything else you want to say? Do it. Anything else you want people to know about you? You never know where this might go, so even as an obituary in 30 years, it's like, hey, Roger said this, so feel free to use up the SD card space.
It's like there's a million things all trying to crowd through the door at the same time, and none of them are getting through. I guess to anybody who will end up watching this, if anybody, would be just love people and don't be a goof. Treat people with respect until they prove they don't deserve it, and then still give them a little more just in case. Hold doors for people. Let people in on the highway. Don't just think about yourself. Try to think about other people and try to help each other. We need that.